Have you ever wondered why Japan seems to operate on a completely different level of efficiency? From their railways to their restaurants, from their schools to their streets, everything just works like clockwork. Today, we're diving deep into 13 Japanese methods that are so brilliantly efficient, they will absolutely blow your mind. And hey, if you love discovering life-changing productivity hacks from around the world, smash that subscribe button right now because we drop videos like this every single week. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Let's jump right in. First up, we have the Shinkansen cleaning crews, and honestly, this is where Japanese efficiency becomes almost superhuman. You know those bullet trains that zip across Japan at over 200 miles per hour? Well, here's the mind-blowing part. When a Shinkansen pulls into a station, the cleaning crew has exactly 7 minutes to completely transform the entire train. We're talking about wiping down every seat, cleaning every window, checking overhead compartments, vacuuming the floors, cleaning the bathrooms, taking out all the trash, and restocking supplies. 7 minutes for a train with 1,000 seats. These crews work in perfect synchronization, each member knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. They bow to passengers as they enter, then move through the train like a coordinated dance troupe. No wasted movements, no confusion, pure efficiency. The crew typically consists of about 22 people, and they finish with time to spare. Studies have shown they average around just 6.5 minutes. As researchers from around the world come to study this operation because it represents the pinnacle of team coordination and time management. The secret? Relentless training, clear role definition, and a culture that respects every job no matter how humble. Next, let's talk about the Kaizen philosophy, which literally translates to continuous improvement. This isn't just some corporate buzzword in Japan. It's a way of life that transformed their entire economy after World War II. The concept is beautifully simple yet profoundly powerful. Instead of waiting for massive breakthroughs or complete overhauls, you make tiny improvements every single day. We're talking 1% better, not 100% better. In Japanese factories, every worker from the CEO to the newest hire is encouraged to suggest small improvements to their work processes. A button moved 2 inches closer, a tool rack repositioned to save 3 seconds. These microscopic changes seem insignificant until you multiply them across thousands of workers and millions of repetitions. Toyota pioneered this approach, and it's a huge reason they became one of the world's most successful car manufacturers. But here's what makes it truly brilliant. These small changes are easy to implement, low risk, and don't disrupt operations. Yet over months and years, they compound into revolutionary improvements. You can apply Kaizen to your own life too. Want to get fit? Don't overhaul your entire lifestyle overnight. Just do 1 push-up today. Tomorrow, do 2. Want to learn a language? Study for 2 minutes today. These tiny improvements feel effortless, which means you'll actually stick with them. And that consistency is what creates extraordinary results. Moving on to something that will change how you approach your mornings, the concept of radio taiso or radio calisthenics. Imagine this. Every single morning across Japan, millions of people stop what they're doing at 6:30, turn on the radio or television, and do synchronized exercises for about 10 minutes. This tradition started way back in 1928, and it's still going strong today. You'll see office workers doing it before their shifts, students doing it at school, elderly people doing it in parks. The routine consists of simple stretching and light aerobic movements, specifically designed to wake up your entire body and get your blood flowing. Here's why this is genius. First, it takes almost no time. 10 minutes is nothing. Second, it requires zero equipment and minimal space. Third, the exercises are designed to be accessible to people of all ages and fitness levels. But the real magic is what it does for productivity and health. That morning movement activates your metabolism, sharpens mental focus, and releases endorphins. Studies show that people who do morning exercise make better decisions throughout the day and have more sustained energy. Plus, when done in groups at workplaces, it builds team cohesion and shared culture. Companies that implement this report fewer workplace injuries and less absenteeism. It's a tiny investment that pays massive dividends in health, happiness, and productivity. Now let's discuss something that might seem strange at first but makes total sense once you understand it. The Japanese concept of Nemawashi in decision making. The word literally means going around the roots, like preparing soil before planting. In a business context, it refers to the process of laying groundwork for a proposed change by talking to all stakeholders individually before any formal meeting or decision. This seems inefficient on the surface, right? Why spend all that time in informal discussions when you could just call one big meeting? But here's the genius. By the time the formal meeting happens, everyone already understands the proposal. Concerns have been addressed privately, consensus has been built, and the actual decision takes minutes instead of hours. There are no surprise objections, no public conflicts, no one feeling blindsided. Western companies often rush to meetings where competing ideas clash, egos get bruised, and decisions get delayed by arguments. The Japanese approach front-loads the communication, which means the execution phase is lightning fast because everyone's already on board. This method respects relationships and saves face, preventing the kind of public disagreements that can damage team dynamics. While it might take longer to reach a decision, the implementation is so smooth and fast that the total time from idea to execution is actually shorter. Plus, because everyone had input, they're genuinely committed to making it work, rather than secretly hoping it fails to prove they were right. Let's shift gears to something you can see with your own eyes. Japanese convenience stores known as konbini, and specifically their inventory management system. Stores like 7-Eleven Japan have turned inventory into an art form. These small stores carry thousands of products in limited space, yet they almost never run out of what customers want, and they waste remarkably little. How do they do it? They use a sophisticated system that analyzes purchasing patterns down to incredibly specific details. They track not just what sells, but when it sells, in what weather conditions, and even during what local events. On hot days, they stock more cold drinks. Before a typhoon, more instant noodles. On Monday mornings, more coffee. The store managers check sales data multiple times per day and can adjust orders in real time. They receive deliveries several times daily rather than weekly, which means fresher products and less storage space needed. But here's the really clever part. Different products have different reorder rhythms. Rice balls might be delivered 3 times a day because freshness is critical. Magazines once a week. Seasonal items get swapped out immediately when data shows demand shifting. This dynamic inventory system means a tiny store can offer almost everything a customer might need at any moment while keeping waste incredibly low. The lessons here apply to our personal lives too. Don't stockpile things you rarely use. Keep what you need accessible and fresh. Review and adjust regularly rather than following a rigid system. Now we need to talk about Hansei, the practice of self-reflection that's built into Japanese culture at every level. After any project, meeting, or event, Japanese teams conduct a Hansei session. This isn't about assigning blame or making excuses. It's a structured reflection asking what went well, what went poorly, and what should be done differently next time. Everyone participates honestly, including leaders who might admit their own mistakes. This practice prevents the same errors from being repeated over and over. In many cultures, there's a tendency to either celebrate success without analysis or to hide failures out of embarrassment. Hansei does neither. It treats both success and failure as learning opportunities. The approach is forward-looking rather than backward-blaming. The question isn't who messed up, but rather how do we improve the system so this doesn't happen again. Companies like Honda conduct Hansei sessions religiously, which is one reason they continuously improve their vehicles year after year. You can implement personal Hansei by spending 10 minutes each evening reflecting on your day. What went well? What could have gone better? What will I do differently tomorrow? This simple practice creates a feedback loop that accelerates personal growth faster than almost any other technique. The key is honest reflection without harsh self-judgment. You're not beating yourself up. You're collecting data to improve your personal operating system. Here's something that impacts daily life for millions. the Japanese practice of sorting trash and recycling with extraordinary precision. In many Japanese cities, waste is separated into 8 or more categories: burnable garbage, non-burnable garbage, plastic bottles, aluminum cans, glass bottles sorted by color, paper and cardboard, oversized items that require special collection, and each category has its own collection day, sometimes only once or twice per month. Residents receive detailed guides showing exactly how to categorize hundreds of different items. You need to rinse containers before recycling, remove caps and labels, flatten cardboard. This seems incredibly tedious, right? But the results are stunning. Japan has one of the highest recycling rates in the world, around 80% in some cities. This detailed sorting means materials can be efficiently recycled into new products rather than contaminating each other and ending up in landfills. The system works because everyone participates. There's strong social pressure to follow the rules because your neighbors will notice if you don't. Children learn the system in school, so it becomes second nature. The efficiency payoff is enormous. Cities need less landfill space, which is critical in a small country. Recycling creates jobs and recovers valuable materials. The environment benefits tremendously, and citizens develop a mindfulness about consumption. When you have to wash and sort every piece of trash, you start thinking twice about buying overpackaged products. It's a system where a small individual effort creates massive collective benefit. Let's move into the workplace with the concept of Hokuren raku, or directional reporting. In Japanese companies, when employees leave their desk or work area, they tell nearby colleagues where they're going and when they'll return. Going to the bathroom, back in 5 minutes. Meeting with the sales team, back at 3. Grabbing lunch, back in an hour. To outsiders, this can seem like micromanagement or lack of trust, but the efficiency benefits are substantial. If a client calls while you're away, your colleague can tell them exactly when you'll return instead of just saying you're unavailable. If someone needs urgent information only you have, they know whether to wait 5 minutes or find another solution. Team members can coordinate better because they know each other's availability. The practice also creates accountability. When you announce you're taking a lunch break, you're less likely to disappear for 2 hours. It's not about surveillance, but about smooth team operation. Think about how much time gets wasted in offices when people wander around looking for colleagues who might be in the bathroom, might be in a meeting, might have gone home early. That uncertainty creates inefficiency. Hokuren Raku eliminates it with a simple habit that takes 5 seconds. You can apply this principle even if you work remotely by updating your status on communication platforms. Those little indicators showing away, in a meeting, or available might seem trivial, but they prevent countless interruptions and enable better asynchronous collaboration. Now, for something that will change how you think about beginnings. The Japanese concept of Shoshin, or beginner's mind. This comes from Zen Buddhism and refers to having an attitude of openness and lack of preconceptions when approaching any subject, even one you're an expert in. The master approaches every situation as a beginner would, full of curiosity and wonder, free from the habits and assumptions that experience creates. Why is this efficient? Because expertise can become a trap. When you think you know everything about something, you stop noticing new possibilities. You follow the same patterns automatically. You dismiss innovative ideas because that's not how we've always done it. Beginner's mind keeps you flexible and creative. You notice details that your experienced eye would normally skip over. You ask basic questions that reveal hidden assumptions. You stay open to learning from anyone, even people with less experience who might see things you've become blind to. Japanese companies encourage this mindset by regularly rotating employees through different departments. An engineer might spend time in sales. A marketer might work in operations. This prevents the tunnel vision that comes from doing the same job the same way for years. Steve Jobs was famous for his beginner's mind, constantly questioning assumptions about what technology should do and how it should work. You can cultivate Shoshin by regularly trying new activities where you're genuinely a beginner. The humility and openness you develop in those situations can then transfer to areas where you have expertise, keeping your mind fresh and innovative. Here's something incredibly practical that you can implement immediately. The Japanese meeting culture, specifically how they start and end meetings with precision. Japanese meetings start exactly on time, not 5 minutes late while waiting for stragglers. If a meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m., it begins at 10 a.m., whether everyone is present or not. This creates a powerful incentive for punctuality because people quickly learn they'll miss important information if they're late. The meetings also end on time. If an hour is scheduled, the meeting concludes in an hour, even if everything isn't resolved. This forces people to prioritize the most important topics and communicate efficiently rather than rambling. There's typically a clear agenda distributed beforehand, and someone takes detailed notes that are shared afterward with specific action items and responsible parties identified. Compare this to the meeting culture in many Western companies where meetings start late, run over, lack clear agendas, and end without clear decisions or action items. Those meetings are time black holes that destroy productivity. The Japanese approach treats time as the precious resource it is. Everyone's time is respected. Decisions get made, actions get assigned, progress happens. If you lead meetings, yet you can adopt these practices immediately. Send agendas 24 hours in advance. Start on time regardless of who's missing. Assign a note taker. End on time. Document decisions and action items. These simple practices can easily cut your meeting time in half while doubling the actual results. Let's talk about something uniquely Japanese that demonstrates respect and efficiency working together. The practice of Omotenashi, which is often translated as hospitality but goes far deeper. It's about anticipating needs before they're expressed and attending to details that most people wouldn't even notice. You see this in Japanese hotels where staff might remember your name after one interaction, or restaurants where your water glass never empties because someone's always watching. The efficiency comes from the fact that anticipated service is faster than requested service. If a hotel employee notices your luggage and offers help before you ask, that's faster than you looking around for assistance. If your coffee is refilled before you need to signal a server, that's faster than waiting to catch someone's eye and making a request. Omotenashi also means removing friction from experiences. Clear signage so you never feel lost. Systems designed to be intuitive so you don't need to ask questions. Processes that work smoothly in the background so you barely notice them. This philosophy makes everything from shopping to transportation feel effortless. The efficiency secret is that investing time upfront to design excellent systems and train people thoroughly means less time fixing problems and handling complaints later. A hotel that prevents problems through thoughtful design and attentive service spends far less time dealing with unhappy guests than one that just reacts to complaints. You can apply Omotenashi thinking to any service you provide, whether it's your job or just helping a friend. Think through their experience from their perspective. What might they need? What could go wrong? What would delight them? Then design systems and behaviors that address those needs before they even arise. Next up, we have something that revolutionizes how space is used. Japanese capsule hotels and micro apartments demonstrate incredibly efficient space utilization. In a country where land is expensive and space is limited, the Japanese have become masters of doing more with less. A capsule hotel room is basically a bed-sized pod with a light, a small TV, and enough space to sit up. That's it. Yet it provides everything actually needed for sleeping. Many capsule hotels include excellent shared facilities like baths, lounges, and workspaces. The efficiency realization is profound. We don't need massive spaces. We need well-designed spaces that serve their specific function perfectly. A sleeping space needs to be comfortable and quiet. It doesn't need to be huge. Similarly, Japanese micro-apartments often feature incredible storage solutions, furniture that serves multiple purposes, and layouts that make every square inch functional. A table that folds into the wall, stairs with built-in drawers, beds that rise to reveal workspaces underneath. This isn't just about saving space, it's about clarity of purpose. Each area has a specific function and is optimized for that function. This prevents the clutter and confusion that happens when spaces try to be everything. It also means less to clean, less to maintain, lower costs, and, interestingly, Many people report feeling more focused and peaceful in smaller, well-designed spaces than in larger, cluttered ones. The lesson isn't necessarily that everyone should live in tiny spaces, but rather that we should be intentional about how we use space. Does this room actually need to be this large? Is this furniture serving a real purpose or just taking up space? Could this area work harder by serving multiple functions thoughtfully? Finally, let's close with something that ties together many of these concepts: the Japanese educational practice of having students clean their own schools. From elementary through high school, Japanese students spend time each day cleaning their classrooms, hallways, bathrooms, and school grounds. There are no janitors for basic cleaning. The students do it themselves under teacher supervision. Western observers often find this surprising or even concerning. Shouldn't students spend that time learning? But this practice teaches efficiency lessons that go far beyond cleaning. First, it creates respect for shared spaces and for the work of cleaning. When you clean bathrooms, you're more careful about keeping them clean. Second, it teaches that no work is beneath you. Everyone contributes to the community regardless of status. Third, it builds practical life skills that students will need forever. Fourth, it creates ownership and pride in the school environment. It's not just a building, it's our space that we care for together. The efficiency comes full circle. Schools with student cleaning programs have lower maintenance costs, cleaner facilities, and students who develop stronger character and work ethic. These students grow up understanding that efficiency isn't just about doing things fast. It's about responsibility, respect, and everyone contributing to collective well-being. They learn that small daily efforts in maintenance prevent big problems later. That teamwork makes hard tasks easy. That taking pride in your environment improves your quality of life. So, there you have it. 13 Japanese methods that demonstrate efficiency at its finest. From 7-minute train cleaning to lifetime lessons learned while cleaning schools, these practices share common themes: respect for time and resources, attention to detail, continuous improvement, clear systems and processes, shared responsibility, and perhaps most importantly, the understanding that small, consistent efforts compound into extraordinary results. What's beautiful is that you don't need to move to Japan to benefit from these principles. You can implement Kaizen in your personal goals, practice Hansei each evening, bring beginner's mind to your work, or adopt precise meeting practices. Each method we've covered today is a tool you can use starting right now to make your life more efficient, more productive, and honestly, more satisfying. If these Japanese efficiency methods fascinated you as much as they fascinate me, make sure you're subscribed because we're constantly exploring productivity secrets, cultural practices, and life optimization strategies from around the globe. Drop a comment telling me which of these 13 methods you're going to try first. I read every single comment and I love hearing from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, where we go even deeper into the strategies that separate the highly successful from everyone else. And before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought that brings all of these concepts together. When you look at how Japan operates as a society, you realize that efficiency isn't just about individual productivity. It's about creating systems where everyone's efforts multiply through coordination and respect. Each person doing their job exceptionally well, each person improving incrementally, each person thinking about how their actions affect the collective. It's almost like a massive orchestra where every musician has practiced their part perfectly, and when they come together, something transcendent happens. The trains run on time, the stores are clean, the streets are safe, the schools function smoothly, and yes, people are more productive, but they're also less stressed because everything works the way it's supposed to work. There's a piece that comes from reliability and order. Now here's what you might not realize. You don't have to adopt every single practice we talked about today. In fact, you shouldn't. The real wisdom is understanding the principles underneath these practices and adapting them to your own life and culture. Maybe Kaizen resonates with you more than Nemawashi. Maybe you love the idea of Hansei but find the concept of directional reporting too rigid. That's perfect. Take what works, experiment with it, adjust it, make it yours. The Japanese didn't invent efficiency by copying anyone else. They developed these practices by observing what works, testing it, improving it, and committing to it long term. Think about this. Many of these practices started as small experiments or cultural traditions that had nothing to do with productivity. Radio calisthenics was created as a health initiative. Students cleaning schools was about teaching responsibility. The Shinkansen cleaning process evolved because of high standards and worker pride. None of these started as efficiency hacks. They started as values. The efficiency came naturally from living according to those values. So maybe the real lesson isn't about specific techniques at all. It's about building a culture, whether in your home, your team, or your organization, where excellence, respect, and continuous improvement are simply how things are done. Where everyone understands that their role matters, where small details receive attention, where feedback is welcomed instead of feared, where time and resources are treated as precious. One more thing before we wrap up. Some people watching this will think these Japanese methods are too rigid or too demanding, and that's a fair perspective. These practices do require discipline and commitment. But here's what I've observed. The people who achieve the most in life, the ones who feel genuinely satisfied with their work and their accomplishments, are almost always the ones who embrace some version of these principles. Not because they're forced to, but because they've discovered that structure actually creates freedom. When you have a clear system, you don't waste mental energy figuring out what to do next. When you continuously improve, you're not stuck doing things the painful way forever. When you practice reflection, you learn from your mistakes instead of repeating them. Structure and discipline aren't prisons. They're the foundation that lets you accomplish meaningful things. As you think about which of these practices to experiment with, consider starting with just one. Don't try to overhaul your entire life. That usually backfires. Pick one practice that genuinely appeals to you. Maybe it's the 5-minute personal Hansei reflection each evening. Maybe it's implementing a precise meeting structure with your team. Maybe it's approaching one area of your life with beginner's mind, then commit to it for 30 days. Not perfectly, just genuinely. And notice what changes. Notice what becomes easier. Notice how it compounds. Then when you're comfortable with that one, layer in another. This is Kaizen applied to personal development. Small improvements, sustained over time, create remarkable transformation. I genuinely believe that the principles demonstrated by Japanese efficiency practices have the potential to improve your life in visible, concrete ways. You could spend less time in unproductive meetings. You could accomplish your goals faster through consistent, incremental progress. You could feel less stress because systems work reliably. You could build stronger relationships through thoughtful communication and genuine respect. You could develop a stronger sense of pride and ownership in your work and your spaces. These aren't abstract benefits. These are real changes that affect how you experience your daily life. Thank you so much for investing your time in this video today. Time is the one resource we can never get back, so I don't take it for granted that you spent these minutes with me. I hope you've discovered something genuinely useful that you can apply. If you did find value in these 13 Japanese efficiency methods, please do hit that subscribe button because we explore fascinating productivity systems, cultural practices, and personal development strategies every single week. Your subscription helps us reach more people who are genuinely interested in improving themselves and their lives. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed and already engaged with our content. I see you and I appreciate you. See you next time.